Good evening, Guelph. My name is Mark Peralivas, and that rhymes with for all of us. And I'm the People's Party candidate for the October federal election. I hope you vote for me. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about Antifa violence, Antifa in Guelph, and what's happening. The arguments that are trying to be made or people are trying to make on social media, and I'm going to deconstruct them a little bit. And we're going to look at some violence in recent history in Hamilton and in Toronto and how much damage it's cost and the reason for my concern. We're going to look at that as honestly as I can. So this is the poster that I put together, and I made this on Photoshop, and it says Vision for Canada, a conversation with Maxime Bernier, 7 to 9 p.m., Friday, July 19th, Guelph Youth Music Center. That's 75 Cardigan Street, just in case you're not sure. And the reason that's important is this is the poster that I put out, and in response to this poster, this is the poster that was made. And make no mistake, this is a violent image. This is violent imagery being used to intimidate. And the reason this is a violent image, just in case you're not sure, is this is a knife and it's stabbing into a Nazi symbol. And the knife is red, presumably blood red, because there's what appears to be a pool of blood on the ground underneath the Nazi symbol. And it says, "Smash Fascism." And I'm not reading this to glorify what they're writing. I'm reading this because I'm going to put this out on audio, and I'd like everybody to understand what this poster looks like and says. Okay? So it says, "Anti-Fascist Rally, Friday, 19th, 6:30 p.m., 75 Cardigan Street." It says, "Maxime Bernier and his racist goons are enemies to working class people. 6:30 p.m., we will rally against racism, against misogyny, against transphobia, against fascism." So that poster is directly targeting 75 Cardigan Street. It has nothing to do with the Nazi symbol or anything to that effect. It says it's targeting 75 Cardigan Street. And 75 Cardigan Street happens to be the address of the Guelph Youth Music Center, which is what I said, but I wanted to show you. Here's the Google machine, and it's corroborating what I've said. 75 Cardigan Street is the address. And here's my poster. This is the address of where our event is taking place. And this is the address of their protest. Violent imagery. And some people might say, this isn't enough. This isn't something to cancel this over. And to you, sir or madam, or however you identify, I would say that I didn't cancel this. The venue canceled this. And why did the venue cancel this? Well, I would say, if I were to guess and I didn't talk to them, they just said, we're invoking this clause and we have a right to cancel and you'll get a refund on Monday. And I said, okay, I understand completely. And the reason I understand is because I'd seen this image and I'd seen these comments, not this one. These comments. I had a look through, and this is the page in question. The link will be in the description, and this is the post. And there are 31 comments. I can't see them all, but I'll show you some deleted ones that I took snippets of yesterday. So this is a meme. A meme is just a picture with words on it, and the meme is a picture of a guitar that says, "This machine kills fascists." Okay? And the meme, the picture says, "This machine engages fascists in respectful debate," said no Woody Guthrie guitar ever, right? So presumably this is the Woody Guthrie guitar encouraging killing fascists. Okay, sure. It says, another one says, "Just please don't do anything stupid, anybody," from Stephen Bryce. And Dan Bedouin, I believe that's how you say that, says, "Demonstrations and rallies are just talk. The only way to smash fascism is to literally smash it, physically remove the scum from our streets." And this one says, "I can't make it. I'll be at work in Burlington until at least 6. Solidarity, siblings, smash the fash." And maybe that's not enough for you either. And we'll get to the history of violence in the recent past, in recent history, from Antifa and Antifa affiliated groups. But first I want you to read this, or I'm going to read this article. I'd like to go through it. This is on Guelph Today, and this was posted 14 hours ago, earlier today, and there's been a lot of people and press trying to get a hold of me. I apologize. I got home late, and my kids got to bed late, and I haven't been able to get back to anybody, but here's my best attempt at explaining things, and I will put out a press release tomorrow. Okay, so Guelph Today, it says, "Maxime Bernier's Guelph event canceled due to concerns over protest. New venue sought." And the event isn't canceled. The event venue was canceled, but the event is still going on, and the interview will happen, so the event is happening. So Here's the article. An appearance by People's Party of Canada leader Maxime Bernier, originally scheduled for this Friday, has been cancelled due to what organizers say are concerns over a protest planned outside the event. Bernier was scheduled to take part in an interview and question and answer period with local PPC candidate and Riding Association president Mark Peralvis at the Guelph Youth Music Centre. But a local group of protesters were planning to protest the event, and the Guelph Youth Music Centre cancelled the booking. Organizers said they will be looking for another venue to host the event. Quote, "We have recently learned through social media channels that an anti-fascist rally is being organized by a local group in conjunction with a group from Hamilton to protest at the event," Peralvis said in a news release Saturday. "The language and imagery used in the social media post is concerning for the safety of the members of our community who are planning to attend this event and for the GYMC. Due to these safety concerns and the potential for property damage, the GYMC has understandably canceled our event booking. We are receiving a full refund and would like to extend our appreciation to the staff at the GYMC for their time and efforts thus far." And if an event could still happen, Peralvis said ticket holders for the event would be updated on the status of the event via email, further information to come. He did not immediately respond to a question about a more private event taking place. A group called the Revolutionary Communist Party Guelph was sharing the poster on social media and celebrated the canceling of the Friday event. They described themselves as a group of anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist militants. A, quote, "huge win for the Guelph working class. Maxime Bernier and his fascist goons have been shut out of Guelph. Just the thought of resistance to their fascist rhetoric leaves them running like the cowards they are," said a post on the group's Facebook page. Interesting. I mean, hey, chickens, let's count you before you're hatched. Okay, celebrate away, guys. I'll see you on Friday. Mayor Guthrie, prompted for a response on Twitter, responded Saturday night with a post saying that democracy compels free speech. And here's Mr. Guthrie's tweet, and it was Andrew Donovan tweeting, quote, he says, "You have citizens threatening violence in our city. They've successfully shut down a visit by Maxime Bernier. Please, for the sake of everything good about Canada, make a public comment on this." And Mayor Guthrie responded by, "I thought we were to be a society that embraces freedom of speech and respectful discussion in the arena of ideas, no matter how contrary they may be to our own. Our democracy compels us." And it says, there's an image, a meme, and it says, "I may disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." And I agree with the spirit of that. Regardless of whether I agree with you or disagree with you, whether I think your ideas are bad or abhorrent, I agree that you should be able to say them, and we should be able to work it out in a civil way and come to an agreement at the end. And agreement being, we disagree. And that's okay. We live in a democracy, and disagreeing is fine so long as what we disagree on isn't against the law, right? And, well, the law is a whole other kettle of fish. However, I wanted to continue and show you the last bit of this article here. Earlier in the day, the GYMC issued a statement saying that they did not book Bernier, as some social media posts claimed, but only rented a room to a local organization, something they do regularly. Quote, "It has come to the attention of the Guelph Youth Music Centre that certain social media posts are claiming that the GYMC has invited Maxime Bernier of the People's Party of Canada to speak at a July 19th event. This claim is false and defamatory, as we have not invited the PPC. The PPC are simply renting space at the GYMC," their statement said hours before canceling the booking. "The Guelph Youth Music Centre is a non-profit organization with rental facilities to the community. We have no political associations or leanings. We have no part in the organization of this event." An online petition started by Guelph resident and activist Jamie Gibson, seeking to get the appearance cancelled, had 87 signatures in a day. The original motivation for the petition was actually a result of about a dozen other Guelph activists I know thinking that we should write letters of indignation to the GYMC. We eventually decided that writing a collective letter was preferable, Gibson told Guelph Today. I scroll down, and I just want to mention, guys, good job. Well done. What you've done is taken the funding and money that we would have spent on this local nonprofit and forced us to spend it somewhere else. So what you've done is reduced funding for local Guelph music and arts. Pat yourselves on the back, I guess. Good job. Is that what you intended? Unintended consequences are still consequences, gentlemen and ladies. Okay, back to the article. Gibson said there was no evidence violence would have happened at the protest. Quote, "The rhetoric of the People's Party of Canada is a much greater threat to the public safety than is a barely circulated online poster such as the one created by the anti-fascist rally," he said. He's talking about this one, this poster with the blood, right? And the stabbing and the direct targeting of the event that is supposed to be a free sharing of ideas. He's saying that this poster is okay. That's what he's saying. And he's saying that there's no evidence that there would have been violence. And I want to show you these comments are interesting and very, very good. And Kevin Bowman says, since when is planning, staging a protest and circulating a petition about terroristic action unless you're a fascist? And he goes more into it here. He says, cowards can't handle their opponents exercising their free speech rights, canceled an event out of fear of a protest, which is a right of all citizens. Hypocrites. Okay, I don't have a problem with people protesting. Protest away, so long as it stays civil and nonviolent. Have a good time protesting. I have no problem with that. However, Antifa and these people have a history of, people associated with Antifa have a history of violence and of property damage, and a recent history, like in the last couple of years history. So we're going to look at from 2017, I believe, but most of what I'm going to show you is recent, more recent than that, 2019. April, May, June, July. Okay, this is from 2018, March 5th, 2018. Locke Street bounces back after terrifying masked mob attack. Now, remember, this was shared originally on a Hamilton page, right? The Hamilton anti-fascist page, and they're coming down to speak with, or to try and interrupt this whole thing. So the Hamilton anti-fascists potentially have ties to this exact same group. This is concerning to me. This informed my decision to call the police. It says, so Locke Street bounces back. Hundreds of residents embraced the traumatized neighborhood around Locke Street South Sunday in the aftermath of a masked mob vandalizing stores and lighting firecrackers that sounded like gunshots. Hamilton police said damage to shops, cars, and homes in the area totaled about $100,000, and no injuries were reported. Police are investigating a possible anarchist group linked to the vandalism that began just after 10 p.m. that Mayor Fred Eisenberg called random and senseless. Okay, I'm going to fast forward here. There's some arrest announcements. It says Hamilton police lay charge in Locke Street vandalism. We believe the individual is the operator of the tower. A well-known Hamilton activist previously accused of being a ringleader behind the destruction at the G20 summit in 2010 has been charged in connection with a vandalism spree on Locke Street last month. On March 3rd, a masked mob of about 30 people in black clothing marched down Locke Street, throwing rocks at cars and businesses, breaking windows and lighting fireworks. They caused about $100,000 damage. Late Friday morning, Hamilton police announced they had arrested Peter Hopperton, 31 at a residence near Cannon and Hess Streets, a place where they were also searching for evidence that morning. He is charged with conspiracy to commit an indictable offense. So this is what they look like. They've got the hoods. It's very Antifa. If you're paying attention to Andy No, and if you don't know who that is, I'll show you. This is exactly the same modus operandi. This is last year in Canada. Here is arrests. This is the Munk debate, and this was November 2nd in Toronto in 2018, last November. It says, arrests, violence at protest against Munk debate hosting Steve Bannon. Hundreds of protesters massed outside Roy Thomson Hall tonight in a demonstration against the Munk debate featuring Steve Bannon and David Frum. Police have beaten protesters with batons, pepper sprayed the crowd, and arrested a number of demonstrators. I scroll down. The protest began outside the hall but moved onto Simcoe Street, which was shut down for the demonstration. As attendees began to line up to enter the venue, protesters converged on the police barricades yelling shame at the line into Roy Thomson Hall. Protesters were also asking police, who do you protect? The pepper spraying began as groups of masked protesters pushed along the barricade, opposing the attendees who were trying to enter the venue. Police with batons were called in when protesters attempted to jump the barricade into Roy Thomson Hall. Toronto police have reported that 12 people were arrested, facing various charges. In addition, 2 police officers suffered fairly minor injuries, as one officer was hit with a stick and another was punched in the face. Among the groups that attended the protest were U of T Flying Squad, an activist wing of U of T Union, the Ontario Public Interest Research Group, a volunteer-based group at U of T, and Toronto Antifa, a left-wing anti-fascist group. So these people are already committing violent acts. Here is these people with the head coverings, I believe, are Antifa, and we can see in the clip, I'm going to show it a couple of times. It's only 18 seconds. You can see the masked person attack somebody from behind. The person he attacks is carrying a flag, and he attacks him, and then the bike helmet guy smacks the same guy who attacked the other guy unprovoked in the face with the bike helmet. Then the bike helmet guy starts smacking other people in the face with the bike helmet. This is the kind of violence that is contagious because you don't know what's going on. People are getting hit just out of nowhere, and a big mob formed really, really fast. This is the kind of stuff that gets out of hand very quickly, and this is the kind of stuff that I abhor, I don't want to see at all. This is the dangerous side of this. This kind of stuff turns in an instant, and it's unbelievably fast. And by the way, this article is about how the guy with the helmet is charged, and the guys with the face coverings, no charges. Here we go. 18 seconds, and I'll probably show it twice just to show you what I mean. I'm going to maybe talk through it too. Here we go.
You murdered Jesus Christ by promoting the
There. See? Attack. Follow him. Bicycle helmet. Okay, here he's over here. Bicycle helmet. Okay, so this guy. So, and here he is. Right? So, even with police presence, this happened like that. Unbelievable. There's still more. Here is the post-millennial itemizing, and there's more, as I've said, but this goes through a bunch of different Antifa attacks. It mentions some of the ones I've already mentioned as well. And here is another one. This is the Locke St. This is another person charged in the Locke St vandalism case. These are just links I'd like you to go through, or I'm giving for extra reading context, etc. Hamilton Man, this is going back to 2011. And so these are just reading for context. This one was July 2nd, and this is a conservative writer, Andy No, details attack at Portland protest. If you haven't seen this, well, the video is here. Link is in the description. I'm just going to read this really quickly. A clash with demonstrators Saturday left conservative writer Andy No with a brain hemorrhage. He wrote an opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal on Tuesday. No, who described himself as a gay journalist of color, said he could have up to 6 months of memory loss from the hemorrhage after he was beaten at an event for Antifa, a left-leaning militant group. He said he also suffered a ripped earlobe. He described being punched and kicked by about a dozen people dressed all in black, which he said was typical clothing for members of Antifa. And Joe Biden as well is condemning the Antifa attack, just in case you like Joe Biden. Biden condemns violent Antifa assault on conservative journalist Andy No, right? Here we go. So I think that within the context of the violence that Antifa has shown within Canada in the last couple of years, and outside of Canada in very recent past, but even in the last 6 months, there have been Portland almost every Saturday is taken over by Antifa thugs, and I think they say, "Whose street? Our street," and they walk up and down the street, which is incredible to watch in this day and age. Like, that's not how this is supposed to work. And threatening violence through images, or threatening violence directly through comments on Hamilton anti-fascist, against fascism posts, talking about killing fascists and saying that demonstrations and rallies are only talk. The only way to smash fascism is to literally smash it, physically remove the scum from our streets. These are violent statements. These are statements that, again, within the context of $100,000 worth of damage done in Hamilton, and the bicycle helmet guy, and the face coverings, and the global news cameras being attacked. I think that it would be a mistake to look at this and say, this is going to be a peaceful event, and there's nothing to worry about. Guelph, I don't want violence in this city, but there is no way that threatening people, threatening violence, and saying that we're going to smash these people because they have different views than us should be accepted or seem okay. This should be denounced from the office of the Prime Minister to the office of the mayor and everyone in between. Our democracy depends on freedom of speech, and it depends on being able to express even the most abhorrent ideas and work out what is the right way forward. What is the right answer? What is correct and what is not correct? Because when you're trying to silence somebody, you're not winning the debate. All you're doing is silencing people, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So I hope to see you on Friday. I hope the event goes off without any violence, and ticket holders will be updated when there's more information to update them with. My name is Mark Peralivas. That rhymes with for all of us, and I'm the People's Party candidate for the Guelph riding. And I stand strongly for free speech, and I won't be intimidated by violent images or violent words. I will have a response, And the response will be legal. And the response will be exactly what you expect. I will call the police. I will call the officials who need to know. And we will move forward in a responsible way, keeping everyone who attends safe and making sure that there's a police presence and that everyone can protest peacefully and respectfully so long as there's no violence. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.